Sunday section of the lesson says that we should read 1 Kings 4 verse 29 to 30. So let's quickly go there. And it says, verse 29, God gave Solomon wisdom and a very great insight and a breadth of understanding as measureless as the sand on the seashore. Solomon's wisdom was greater than the wisdom of all the people of the East and greater than all the wisdom of Egypt. So it continues now. The book of 1 Kings describes Solomon as both wise and intelligent and curious about everything around him. Though God doesn't guarantee us material wealth if we follow him, life usually works better, and we can spare ourselves so much pain when we follow God's principles. Read this week's Out of the Story. What are some ways that we can become more wise? And how do we tell the difference between wisdom and foolishness? In what situations is wisdom particularly necessary? So let's go to the Out of the Story section. Solomon asked God for wisdom, and he hadn't asked for riches or glory, and those things were added as well. What do you think might happen if he had asked God for material things instead of wisdom? God really knows the heart of the person. So it's an example for us anyway, to make sure that we are focusing on things that are beyond just here and now. Next part says, God blessed Solomon's reign with wealth, yet many of his proverbs warn against the danger of riches. Are financial blessings necessarily a sign of God's favor for his followers today? How should we relate to money as Christians? I can just off the top of my head think of a verse that says, for the love of money is a root of all evil. 1 Timothy 6 verse 10. So as Christians, we need to be very careful of our relationship with money. So money in and of itself is not a bad thing. It just depends on how you use it. Similar to fire. Fire is not bad, but how you use fire can determine whether you are helping a situation or potentially hurting those around you. Solomon was fascinated by all kinds of science and natural things. What can the natural world tell us about God? And it says, see Psalm 33 verse 5 for one idea. All right, so let's look at that one. The Lord loves righteousness and justice, and the earth is full of his unfailing love. So all around you can see God's love. All right, there's a certain balance in nature itself. After Solomon returned to Jerusalem, he threw a party for his people. What does this say to you about the role of celebration in the Christian life? It's always important to have things that you can look forward to and some amount of, joy and gladness. So it's important for us to take time to reflect and to celebrate those things that are of importance to us. How would you define wisdom? How is it a tree of life, as Proverbs describes? This really is a big one. Wisdom is the way in which we conduct ourselves on a day-to-day basis, thinking not only of today, but all the consequences that will follow as a result of the actions we take right now. That's one way of looking at it. But you tell me, how would you define wisdom? So just to close out the lesson now, in what situations is wisdom particularly necessary? And you can leave a few of those in the comment section below. All right, guys, see you tomorrow.